I hope you'll forgive me. I did not feel well this morning when I woke up. I went downstairs, but I was woozy, and I tripped on one of the stairs on the way back up. I didn't feel well. Not just that, but somehow from scrubbing that frying pan yesterday, my hip is all inflamed on my left side where I sprained it 2 years ago. And so I gotta be very careful. Otherwise it's gonna have a sprain again, and I don't want that. Really don't want that. Anyway, I'm starting to wake up now. I'm going to go do my prayers after I get dressed, after I have my coffee. I know, I'm a mess. I just woke up, literally. And then I got to plan dinner. I'll plan dinner while I sit here and wake up from drinking coffee. All right. I'll be back. So today when I woke up, my package was there. It was supposed to come there on Friday, but it came early. So I was really excited. So obviously I got up and I walked slowly to the post office, even though I didn't want to, but you know, I really wanted to see what it was like, because the pictures were so beautiful. And let me tell you, it's exactly what I ordered. It goes all the way around. It's like a dress. It's like a dress, yo. I really, really like it. So don't worry, I take stills so that you can get better pictures of what it looks like. It goes all the way around. So when I make messes now, when I'm cooking or baking or something, I don't have to worry about it getting on my pants or my skirts or anything like that. It literally will just get on the apron. Isn't this beautiful? I love this. I have a new favorite apron. This is my new favorite apron, yo. For real. It's so good. I love it. I'm still wearing it because I love it. I don't want to take it off yet. I love it. All right, y'all. So I'm going to do the video for the comments early. And then I'm going to go and pray because I need to wash myself clean, okay? These comments were so bad, okay? They got really, really bad real quick. But anyways, look. I'm wearing it. I love it. This is a birthday present to me. I loves it. I might actually do some embroidery on it. I haven't decided yet, though. Might not. Might not. Depends on how I feel. So, I'll be back a little later with the comment video, okay? I'll see you guys very soon. Alright, y'all. So, here we go. I think I shared these with you guys before. I can't remember. If I did, I apologize, but I really wanted to, like, show you the Diane, I think that's her name. Anyway, after the last comment she sent me, she blocked me. So she will no longer be conversing with me, which is fine because she was very, very rude, as you'll see in the coming comments. I just don't understand how she could call herself a Christian and not believe 2 Corinthians 5:17. Like, wow. I don't even know, like, I didn't even understand. She's telling me I'm not a Christian, yet she doesn't even believe 2 Corinthians 5:17. Wow. Anyway, I don't know if I showed you guys these, but this is the interaction I had with these feminists. I think I handled the situations pretty good. I kept my cool. I never lost control in the conversation. And I kept it about God the whole time. His goodness and kindness, his mercifulness. I was just being honest the whole time. So I think I did a pretty good job with handling these feminists. And it doesn't get any better, y'all. It does not get any better. It gets worse and worse and worse. Just wait. This is Dina, I don't know, Dina. She does not believe that there is a problem with infertility. She said our fertility is gone in menopause, not our 30s. And I was literally saying, well, that's not true because there's a lot of infertility right now in women, and women are experiencing it younger and younger. And then she's like, do you even know about menopause? I'm like, yeah, of course I know what menopause is. I'm a woman, obviously. And then I asked her, are you saying that there's no such thing as infertility? Now, the reason why I start talking to her the way I do is because she implies I'm dumb, okay? She implies that I'm incapable of having an intelligent conversation. Watch. I could not believe what she said to me. I mean, and she calls herself a Christian, and she's saying this stuff to me. It was very, 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 concerning. I mean, she's quite the lukewarmness, if you know what I mean. Very liberal, very feminist. They all say the same thing. Have the day you deserve. I hate when they say that. It's so dumb. Oh, yeah, I went back to this lady for some reason. I don't know. She was implying that I let my husband control my whole entire life. Ha! She doesn't understand what it means to be submissive and a helpmeet. Has nothing to do with man controlling woman. Nothing to do with that. These women, they don't even know what they're talking about. They don't understand what they're saying. They don't, if they even, they should just ask. If they don't know, they should just ask. You know? And then they won't sound so ignorant. So this is when she implies that I'm not smart. So I got very upset with the fact that she was implying I'm not intelligent enough to have a conversation with someone. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to make her mad. Oh. I'm pretty good at it. It's a gift to know how to make someone mad. I mean, if she was really this highly intelligent person, she wouldn't have allowed me to make her so mad out of nowhere. Like, this comment here is not even that bad, you know what I mean? Like, you clearly are the one uneducated. I mean, come on, that's so juvenile, right? And I was just saying it to be funny. I was literally laughing. You know, I do that sometimes. I say stupid, childish things, you know, just to get a reaction. And then she says, I already said, bless your heart, you should just take the hint. And I said, no, you clearly don't believe there's a problem called infertility that makes you uneducated. I struggled with it for years. It took me so long to get pregnant because of my infertility. Had nothing to do with menopause. I was between the ages of 19 and 25, lol. How could I be in menopause? That's the dumbest thing I ever heard a feminist say on here. Which is true. I struggled with infertility because of a sexual assault that left me very, very injured up there. And they told me I would never be able to conceive naturally. But with a little bit of hormone therapy, I was fine. So then she's like, you assume what I believe. I was stating that every woman who goes through menopause becomes infertile. It happens in our late 40s and early 50s. Waiting until you are 30 or even 40 to have children is entirely plausible. Going to college may have helped you to learn deductive reasoning rather than your tunnel vision thought process. I'm also not a feminist, just like you're not an intelligent person. Have the day you deserve. Which is what all feminists and leftists say. They are the only ones that say that. They parrot it like mindless drones.
I wouldn't even go to space. He would be on the ground.
I said, well, first of all, I am intelligent because I know a lot more than you about this. Waiting until you're 30, you have lost more than half the eggs you were born with for procreation. Clearly, you don't understand how hard it is to get pregnant after your peak years. You need hormone therapy and other interventions. Clearly, you don't have a very good grasp on the world's reality because there is like 1 in 4 women experience infertility. 1 in 4. That is the saddest statistics I've ever heard. 1 in 4. That is sad. Very sad. She said, I easily got pregnant 4 times after my peak year. So did 90% of my female friends. So there's that. I said, oh, so because you've never experienced infertility, it must not exist, lol. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I guess you should stop using seatbelts because every time me and my family, when we were kids, went in the car, we never had any and we were fine. So clearly they're useless. Drunk face. Like doofy, you know? This woman's a doofy. Because you haven't experienced it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. That is so dumb. I've never gotten food poisoning, so obviously there's no such thing. Dumb. It's the dumbest argument I've ever heard in my life. She said something very bigoted. I said, excuse me? Wow, your bigotry really shines when you're questioned, lol. Okay, ma'am, you clearly don't have any grasp of reality. God is real, and his order for family and marriage and life is perfect and good. It's not fake. I have seen the blessings of the Lord in my life for my obedience to him. Because she said I was a fake Christian. I don't know if I screenshotted the actual comment. I hope I did. Maybe it's the next one you'll see. I thought I did, though. I was pretty sure I did. I guess I'll find out in a second. Oh, I didn't. There's a soft-walled room waiting for you somewhere. Perhaps you should search for it. I said, I'm actually fine. I'm sure that you should. That should be your treasure hunt. Mine is in heaven. Jesus went to prepare a mansion for me. See how I'm not even trying to stoop to her level? She's like being really like, she's giving a very poor behavior for intelligent people. And she's being stupid. Like very, very callous and malicious on purpose. Not very Christ-like. But you'll see, she tells me she's a Christian. Then this fool. But you're telling an untruth because... And I'm like, obviously this person and Dina don't understand reality in this world right now. Then she says to me, your pride says everything I need to know. Jesus called the prideful hypocrites and liars. Pick whichever one. Lord have mercy. These people, man, I swear. I said to that Thai guy, I said, well, that's funny. I have experienced this myself, and I had none of those medical reasons for why I was infertile. I had to have hormone therapy. I was a very healthy 19-year-old. I didn't conceive even with interventions until I was 24. So you clearly don't understand that there is a clear correlation between the current culture and infertility. It's a real problem, and one out of every 4 women experience it. You're clueless if you think that it's not real. I can't believe you fools are out here really commenting such things on here. Imagine a young woman struggling to conceive sees your very insensitive comment. Wow, shame. Then I said to Dina, I'm not prideful nor a hypocrite, but that's okay. The message of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing. I quoted Bible. This is when she tells me she's a Christian, I think. One of these comments, she says it to me, and then I'm surprised. I'm like, how are you a Christian when you're talking like this to people? And then you're like condemning me for the way I'm speaking. Really? That is just backwards. That is backwards, upside down, and sideways. Really, really, like, just irks me when they do that. Oh, wait, go continue in your idolatry. Mary and the saints are not supposed to be worshipped, nor are we supposed to sit at the seat of priests. You know, there's the little matter of hundreds of lawsuits against the fathers. I said to her, well, if you'd abandoned Jesus because of a Judas, then you weren't really his to begin with. Like, I'm not in the faith because of man or priests or pastors or people. I'm in the faith because of Jesus and how they worship Jesus. I love the faith because of the worship of Jesus. And if you ain't in the faith for Jesus, then you're not in it for the right reasons. And I've said this many times before to people who have claimed the same thing at me. You know this. I've said this many times. You're really not well, but your church isn't either, so I'm not surprised. Go worship Mary. Not going to a heathen church isn't leaving Jesus. Do you see how learning logic could benefit that being between your ears? You abandoned Jesus for pagan universe, a witch among us. Go figure. This is what I'm talking about. 2 Corinthians 5:17, Dina. 2 Corinthians 5:17. Lol, I came to Christ in 2020. I tried deleting my old pages. They never got deleted. But go ahead and see the last time I posted on there. Clearly you don't know God. 2 Corinthians 5:17. I don't need to explain myself. I don't care what you think. And if you think that humans in the church failing their faith in Christ is a reason to abandon Christ, then you don't know what Christ is asking of us when he tells us to follow him. We are not following men. Human men are fallible and will fail and fall and give into temptations. I'm in the faith for Christ, and if I am with him and he is with me, then you cannot tell me otherwise, because my salvation, my promise is in Christ, not you and not man. And she's like, you're in a church that is an abomination. You also can't read and comprehend. Everything you show about yourself is cringy. I said, you think what you say bothers me? It doesn't. Jesus was rejected by his own, and many stopped following him after he preached John 6:53 through 66. So I really don't care what you say. Haven't you realized that by now? Or do you just enjoy being rude and mean? Like, honestly, does she not understand what she was saying? Very, very inconsiderate. She's like, bless your heart. I'm like, you have nothing to say for your poor behavior? Like, you have nothing to say for yourself, man? Or did you just finally realize that what you were doing wasn't Christ-like at all? And that you embarrassed yourself? Shame. Don't worry, she gets triggered. Just watch. Feminists, man, feminists in the churches, man, these Jezebels. You're an uneducated, ducated hypocrite that worships false idols. Oh, and you practice witchcraft. I'd say you're the one with the bad behavior, little girl. I said 1 Corinthians 5:17. I said first, 2 Corinthians 5:17 would disagree with you on the witchcraft part and worshiping false idols. Secondly, I am not a hypocrite. Explain to me how I'm a hypocrite. This is when she got triggered. She went through all of my posts, y'all, all of them. Just look at this. Like, why? Was it necessary to go lurking my page this much? Was it, Dina? Was it worth it? I don't understand why you would do that. That don't make no sense. It don't make no sense. Why would you go through my whole page? Why? Don't make no sense. And then comment these stupid comments. Obviously somebody was triggered. And then she had to say something stupid. You guys have seen me in many videos, and I am veiled. But I thought I would just, be petty for a moment. So I'm going to be petty for a moment. Just watch this. I'm going to be petty because I wanted to. Just to shove her nose in it. 'Cause she thought she was so righteous. But she's a liberal feminist Jezebel. I'm not veiled, really. There's this, for instance, this photo of me. But then I literally went and grabbed every single video of every single Sunday that I went to church. And I compiled it into a time lapse for y'all. Because otherwise it would have been like 45 minutes of me being veiled. So I cut it down to a minute and a half in a time lapse for y'all. So, yeah. But I just wanted to make sure that it was shown. You know what I mean? I had to make sure that it was evident that this woman was obviously ignorant, blind, uneducated, and just downright rude and mean. Look at this time lapse of every single time I was veiled. 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 So many. Like 45 of them, y'all. 45. 45 veiled videos of me. 45. 45. I can't believe it. Can you believe it? But I had to prove it. I veil every single time I go to Mass. Every single time. I also veil when I'm praying here in the house. You guys know that. I share one of those videos of me when I'm praying at home and I'm veiled. I'm always veiled at church. There's me home veiled. At church veiled. At home veiled. So she's obviously a liar. Daily Mass reading reflections for Wednesday, March 19th. The sorrows of Joseph. Your father and I have been searching for you in sorrow. Luke 2:48. When we see a picture of Jesus hanging on the cross, we realize in a small way his great sorrows and sufferings. He suffered more than anyone ever has or ever will suffer. We also are aware of the sorrows of Mary, the sorrowful mother. However, we don't hear of the sorrows of Saint Joseph. That Jesus was born in a stable must have hurt Joseph deeply. He probably said to himself, "Can't a husband and father do better for his wife and baby?" Joseph must have suffered sorrow when he heard Simeon prophesy that Mary, Joseph's wife, would be pierced with a sword of sorrow. Luke 2:35. When you love someone, it can be harder to see them suffer than to suffer yourself. Joseph also suffered when he had to get up and flee that night with his wife and his child to Egypt. Matthew 2:14. The family life of refugees is full of sorrow. How hard it must have been for the sorrowing Joseph, Luke 2:48, to realize that when Jesus said he had to be in his father's house, he was not referring to Joseph's house, Luke 2:49. Also, Joseph suffered the daily sorrows of being looked down upon because of his lowly occupation. See John 6:42 and Mark 6:3. Finally, after a life of sorrows, Joseph died a happy death. He went to his father's house, the house where Jesus lived. There Jesus wiped every tear from Joseph's eyes. Revelation 7:17. Prayer. Father, may I love as Saint Joseph loved. May I love enough to suffer much. Promise. Your house and your kingdom shall endure forever. Before me your throne shall stand firm forever. 2 Samuel 7:16. Praise. The Dillons, parents of 6 girls, prayed a novena to Saint Joseph for a baby boy. At the close of the novena, they conceived a son. A reading from the book of 2 Samuel 7:4 through 5, then verses 12 through 14, and 14 through 16. The word of the Lord came to Nathan. Go and tell my servant David, when your days are fulfilled and you lie down with your ancestors, I will raise up your offspring after you, who shall come forth from your body, and I will establish his kingdom. He shall build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. I will be a father to him, and he shall be a son to me. Your house and your kingdom shall be made sure forever before me. Responsorial Psalm, Psalm 89. His line shall continue forever. I will sing of your steadfast love, O Lord, forever with my mouth. I will proclaim your faithfulness to all generations. I declare that your steadfast love is established forever. Your faithfulness is as firm as the heavens. You said, I have made a covenant with my chosen one. I have sworn to my servant David, I will establish your descendants forever and build your throne for all generations. He shall cry to me, you are my Father, my God, and the rock of my salvation. Forever I will keep my steadfast love for him, and my covenant with him will stand firm. A reading from Paul to the Romans, Romans 4:13 through 22. Brothers and sisters, the promise that Abraham would inherit the world did not come to Abraham or to his descendants through the law, but through the righteousness of faith. For this reason, the promise depends on faith in order that the promise may rest on grace and be guaranteed to all his descendants, not only to the adherents of the law, but also to those who share the faith of Abraham. He is the father of all of us, as it is written, I have made you the father of many nations. Abraham believed in the presence of the God who gives life to the dead and calls into existence the things that do not exist. Hoping against hope, Abraham believed that he would become the father of many nations. According to what was said, so numerous should your descendants be. Therefore his faith was reckoned to him as righteousness. The Gospel according to Matthew. Matthew 1:16 through 24. Jacob was the father of Joseph, the husband of Mary, of whom Jesus was born, who is called the Christ. Now the birth of Jesus, the Christ, took place in this way. When his mother Mary had been engaged to Joseph, but before they lived together, she was found to be with child from the Holy Spirit. Her husband Joseph, being a righteous man and unwilling to expose her to the public disgrace, planned to dismiss her quietly. But just when he had resolved to do this, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife, for your child conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will bear a son, and you are to name him Jesus, for he will save his people from their sins. When Joseph awoke from sleep, he did as the angel of the Lord commanded him. He took her as his wife. Daily Wisdom for March 19th, morning and evening. The world cannot hate you, but me it hates, because I testify of it, that the works thereof are evil. Jesus, John 7:7. This will be the same for us, dear women. As we tell those around us that their works are evil, they will call us judgmental and even dangerous, because we teach the ways of the Lord and warn against their evil ways. They don't want their evil deeds to be exposed to the light, and this is why we can expect to be hated. They hated Christ, they'll hate us. But take heart, because King Jesus has overcome the world, and greater is he who is in us than he who is in the world. Satan's goal is to kill, steal, and destroy, but Christ came to give abundant life. Continue to speak to the truth in love. Never let their hate stop you. We know how it all ends. What? A situation where a man has a wife who is submissive and respectful towards him and then refuses to do something sinful, and I can guarantee you that even he knows it's sinful, is a completely different situation from one where a man is married to a woman who is contentious in many areas, even where sin is not the issue, and who then also refuses to sin. The former will know full well that he has a wife who is generally committed to treating him with respect and submission, even if he's an unbeliever and doesn't understand the biblical motivation between his wife's attitudes and actions. The latter will see that his wife is just keeping par for the course. The man who has a submissive and respectful wife will likely be taken off guard when she hesitates or says no to his sinful requests, and chances are he will be given pause to reconsider his requests. The Marriage Dilemma by Tim McMeans. Daily Catholic Devotional from the Catholic Bible for Wednesday. Pray and listen. You've thoughtfully read the scripture reading for the day. Now what? Let the words sink into your whole being. Take the time to be present with God. Let him form you from what you have just read. Replay as Eli advised Samuel to respond, Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening. Encounter your God, for he is waiting for you. Start by stilling yourself. Stop and consider the wondrous works of God, Job 37:14. For some, that may mean to close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. For others, it may mean to focus your eyes on a holy object, a scene from your window, or whatever calms you. Be still and listen. Does a particular verse or scene from the reading come to mind? What insight into God, or into yourself are you gaining? Sometimes while meditating, you may have so many distracting thoughts filling your head that you cannot focus on the reading or on God. If you have tried to clear your mind but cannot, perhaps God is telling you that it is time to simply simplify your life, to be single-minded on the things of the Lord, or perhaps there is something going on in your life you need to take to Him. Talk to Him about your anxieties. The important thing is to take the time to be one-on-one with God. After you've had your say, be still, listen, and let God have His say. There are other times when you've calmed yourself, thought of a verse or scene, and nothing happens. There is nothing to distract you. You are calm, but you have no thoughts or insights. Be still and cherish your oneness with God. People in love don't always have to converse. Their presence together is enough. The way of purification, daily bread, temptation, interior honesty. Christ, my child, when I give you heavenly light and strength to not become proud and self-satisfied, remember how weak and miserable you are when you are without these gifts. One who is overconfident when matters are going well often goes to the other extreme of discouragement, sadness, or fear when temptations and difficulties come. Be convinced of your complete dependence on me. Without me, you are nothing. A deep appreciation of this truth will help you to control your thoughts and desires. It will keep you strong in time of temptation, so that you will not fall so easily into sin. Fight like a good soldier. If you should fall through weakness, pray for greater help and rise with more determination than before. Beware of self-satisfaction and pride. These two evils lead men into error and sometimes make them incurably blind to their faults and failures. Learn your lesson from the downfall of those who foolishly trusted to their own ability. Let it be a warning to keep you always humble. Think to self. God has a definite plan for me, a plan which is mainly concerned with my eternal salvation. At times he gives me an interior joy, peace, and eagerness to do more good. At other times he takes away these interior gifts, and I feel dejected, dull, perhaps even sad and discouraged. A level-headed person tries to live a balanced life without giving in to his moods and feelings. When God sends him spiritual light and joy, he tries to enjoy these gifts with self-control, remembering that shortly he will experience spiritual trials which will take away this present enjoyment. So too, in time of trial, he reminds himself of the joy which he had previously and will have again in due time. Such a person avoids extreme changeableness and the undependability of those who act on their feelings and moods. He is reliable both with God and with his fellow men, because he seeks to keep control of himself, whether he feels himself raised up in joy or submerged in spiritual darkness and sadness. Pray. My God and Creator, the truth is that I am completely dependent on you for all things. Without you, I am nothing and I can do nothing. If I admit this dependence on you by my daily life, I shall become truly great. Make me honest enough to live according to this truth. I hope to strive harder to please you in my daily occupations and activities. I will refuse to become proud when I enjoy your gifts, nor will I become discouraged when you take your gifts away from me. You have reasons for the way you treat me. I hope to keep my mind on your boundless wisdom and love. Whatever happens today, whether I enjoy peace or suffer trials, I want my loyalty to your holy will to remain unchanged and unwavering. Amen. Imitation of Mary, Book 2, Knowing Mary, Mary's Communion with Jesus, paragraphs 15 through 17. O all you who pass on the way to Calvary, look upon the sorrowful presence of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Look to the right of the cross and see Mary, the Mother of Christ. There can be no sorrow like hers. Never in the history of the world has there a mother who shared her son's suffering with such love. For all the wounds inflicted on the limbs of Jesus, she received in her soul. She became a martyr every time she gazed on the bloody wounds of her son. See to it, then, devout soul, that you imprint these things on your heart. Be meek and courageous when the moment of temptation comes. Do not be troubled and do not despair if you are deprived of something you greatly love, or if you are denied something you think necessary for you. The friends of Jesus are often tried by serious afflictions. After all, if God did not spare even his own son, but handed him over to intense sufferings for the sake of us all, what claim do you have to better treatment? If Christ was not self-seeking, but was obedient and ready to endure base and painful attacks, why do you fear fatigue and suffering? Why do you not rather embrace difficulties and hardships? Out of love for the crucified Jesus, if he stored up many afflictions for his holy mother here on earth, if he allowed her to be often tried and suffer greatly, how could you ever live without trials? If you study all the friends of God, you will not find one who sailed the sea of this life without experiencing harsh trials. Take then, from the sight of the crucified Christ and of his blessed mother, the example of unwearying patience, and you will never be afraid to endure sacrifices for your salvation and for the recompense that will come to you from the infinite goodness of Jesus. If you act in this way, you will be able to enjoy the vision of his face for all eternity. St. Faustina's Diary, Book 1, April 29th, 1935. On the eve of the exposition of the image, I went with our Mother Superior to visit our confessor, Father Sopaco. When the conversation touched upon the image, the confessor asked for one of the sisters to help make some wreaths. Mother Superior replied, "Sister Faustina will help." I was delighted at this, and when we returned home, I immediately set about preparing some greens, and with the help of one of our wards, brought them over. Another person who works at the church also helped. Everything was ready by 7 o'clock that evening, and the image was already hanging in its place. However, some ladies saw me standing around there, for I was more a bother than a help, and on the next day they asked the sisters what this beautiful image was and what was its significance. Surely these sisters would know, they thought, as one of them had helped adorn it the day before. The sisters were very surprised, as they knew nothing about it. They all wanted to see it, and immediately they began to suspect me. They said, "Sister Faustina must certainly know all about it." When they began asking me, I was silent, since I could not tell the truth. My silence increased their curiosity, and I was even more on my guard, not to tell a lie and not to tell the truth, since I had no permission to do so. Then they started to show their displeasure and reproached me openly, saying, "How is it that outsiders know about this and we nothing?" Various judgments were being made about me. I suffered much for 3 days, but a special power took over in my soul. I was happy to suffer for God and for the souls that have been granted his mercy during these days. Seeing that so many souls have been granted divine mercy these days, I regard as nothing even the greatest suffering and toil, even if they were to continue till the end of the world, for they will come to an end. While these souls have been saved from torments that are without end, it was a great joy for me to see others returning to the source of happiness, the bosom of the divine mercy. Seeing Father Sapako's sacrifice and efforts for this work, I admired his patience and humility. This all cost a great deal, not only in terms of toil and various troubles, but also of money. And Father Sapako was taking care of all the expenses. I can see that divine providence had prepared him to carry out this work for mercy before I had asked God for this. Oh, how strange are your ways, O God, and how happy are the souls that follow the call of divine grace. Praise the Lord, my soul, for everything, and glorify his mercy, for his goodness is without end. Everything will pass, but his mercy is without limit or end. And although evil will attain its measure, in mercy there is no measure. O my God, even in the punishments you send down upon the earth, I see the abyss of your mercy. For by punishing us here on earth, you free us from eternal punishment. Rejoice, all you creatures, for you are closer to God in his infinite mercy than a baby to its mother's heart. O God, you are compassion itself for the greatest sinners who sincerely repent. The greater the sinner, the greater his right to God's mercy. Holy Silence, Chapter 2, Plunging into the Sea. Just before plunging into this infinite sea of mystery and love, at the brink of entering its depths, one's soul is poised and reflective. It's as if God were asking it, "What is your choice?" And standing there waiting for an answer, God waits. Isn't it awesome that man can make God wait, but he does? Memories of his long pilgrimage pass before the pilgrim's eyes. They are closed, for he listens. Somewhere out of the past, out of the infinite silence, which is the Lord's speech, he remembers the voice that called, "Arise, my beloved, my beautiful one, and come." Song of Solomon or Song of Songs 2:10. He remembers that at one time he has almost forgotten when or where he arose and followed that voice throughout a long, long pilgrimage until he finally arrived at these silver sands where he is now. Deciding how to answer God's question, he stands face to face with God and remembers how he started out in some desert and there saw the face of God, although never as fully as he desired. Then God called him to a pilgrimage that few people accept to go on. He went through untold hardships and untold delights before finally arriving at these silver sands where the waves lap the shore. Here God asks the question, will you accept the vocation of silence? It is not the vocation of living alone. No, it is the vocation of entering the sea of infinity to preach the gospel in deep silence. And by preaching the gospel silently, drawing an innumerable host of people towards God. The silver sands are warm. The sun shines on them in a very special way. I and a few others stand there looking at this beautiful shimmering sun reflecting sea, which during the night reflects the moon and stars. It especially reflects the infinity of God. The time has come to plunge, yes, to take the plunge into this deep, immense sea that is the infinity of God. There is no other sea like it. It is the sea of his heart. Those who hunger and thirst to be alone with him are the ones invited into it. Listen, hear the waves lapping on the shore. Each wave says, "Come, come, come." And we have to go. Not because we are impelled by anything human. No, we are impelled by love, a love that knows no bounds. Even if our love is still bound in a little while, it will be like Christ's boundless. Like Christ, we will open our arms to embrace the whole world, all peoples and races, and even our enemies. There is no hesitation now in our hearts. We lift our eyes, and it's as if God smiles down upon us. The next thing we know, we are entering the warm waters of the sea, which are the waters of baptism, made holy by the presence of Christ. Only now they have become this immense sea, which seems to cover everything, because God is infinite. And with the ears of our souls, we hear the voice of our God. He who has given up everything for me will receive a great reward. How the sea beckons. We have already gone in up to our knees, now up to our waists, now up to our necks, and then, like one who dives into a wave, we willingly plunge into the very depths, because he who loves us is in the depths. In time we will be one with him, and the Christ in us will embrace the whole world. Be at peace, be at peace. It is a time of waiting. Be very quiet, for now we must hear the words of God coming from the depths. Listen very carefully, for here out of the depths he will begin to teach us how to become totally identified with himself. The silver sands are gone, so is the mountain that was in the background. There is nothing now except water. It is water, or is it the infinity of God's mercy and God's power? The step has been taken. Everything has been left behind. Nothing remains. Those of us who have jumped into the infinite waters of God come out somewhere onto a shore that has no sand or mountains or sun. It is rough country. There are sharp stones, boulders, and knolls that seem part of a larger mountain whose summit cannot be seen. Are we supposed to walk over these sharp stones? Is it for this that we left the silver sands? Is it for this that we plunged heedlessly into the warm sea of God's mercy? The sharp stones barely form the outline of a path leading upwards, but the voice whispers as if from afar, "Come, I am waiting for you. Come." Walking barefoot over sharp stones, we pilgrims of the Absolute who are searching for God with our whole being, follow this barely visible path of silence. We did not know it would be so harsh. We did not know it would be so lonely. No matter, we have to go. The silence of God draws us on like a lover draws his beloved. It doesn't matter if we leave bloody footprints along the way. Nothing matters except our entry into God's silence. We have met his silence before, as well as the silence of Satan and of indifference. We have understood a little bit, not much, of the loneliness of Christ and of his rejection. As we slowly walk this stony path which cuts the soles of our feet, we hear from somewhere the voice of the tempter, "Turn back." But we can't. We must go on to meet God. Then we hear another voice, clearer and more powerful than the first. "If anyone thirsts, let him come to me. Let him drink who believes in me." John 7:37-38. We recognize that it is we who are hungry and thirsty, and we are astonished that we have come so far in following Christ. We fall on our knees and cry out, "Lord, have mercy on me." Then before our very eyes, Christ appears. In his one hand is a cup of wine, and in the other a piece of Jewish flat bread. He hands me and those with me the chalice, a wooden cup. He tears the bread into pieces so that each of us has enough. We eat and drink and fall asleep. When we awake, there is no bread and wine, but we are refreshed, and we now have the strength to move upward over the terrible stones, over briars and thorns, which try to hold us back. With quiet, slow, firm pace, we move forward. He who has received the bread and wine, food for the day, has been consoled by Christ. As we move quietly and simply up the stony path, a new mystery is revealed to us. The consolation we have received, we must pass on to others. This consolation is the good news that God loves us. The faith, hope, and love of our hearts pass over into the hearts of others, and they are consoled. Now we know why we followed Christ into such great silence, to experience how one grows strong in Christ by being fed by him. We understand also that our silence now covers the whole world, because it is not ours but his. Here I would like to share a poem I once wrote, Silence and Atonement. My heart and I have learned silence today. It took us very long to understand that silence is part of the domain of Lady Pain, that there are courts and stairs and turrets and chambers without end in the domain of Lady Pain, and that my heart and I, as we grow, will surely and slowly know, because we are yet fairly small and not quite learned as yet in all the ways of pain and love. Spend some time in every court and walk each steep step of every stair and enter turrets, chambers one by one, and stay in each until each one has taught my heart and I its lesson of pain, its chant of love. And then someday, we do not know when, my heart and I will find the last strange ladder that will bring us to final ecstasy and death, that starts a life of endless and eternal delight. But that is not yet, for we must learn to suffer and to wait, to hide from all the facts that now we live in two domains, that of earth and that of Lady Pain. We are so slow, my heart and I, to learn anything at all, and yet today we learned the art of silence when in pain. We learned that the skins of a white doe bind tight, and that they increase the pain 100-fold, yet silence must be kept. We tried so hard today when we were crucified, and now we know that pain borne for love's sake is like a flame that brings us in the very heart of pain, and then dips us into the infinity of peace that sends us back again into the heart of pain. Yes, silence taught us much today. We learned that love must have its way, and never count the costs. We paid the cost in silence, and enjoy while in the very heart of pain. Somewhere I was sitting on the grass, picking daisies. I was pulling off the petals, saying, he loves me not. Suddenly 2 people were at my side. They seemed to be transparent. You could see through them, or so it seemed. They were not picking daisies. They were talking to one another, as well as to me. I had not been thinking of anything spiritual at that moment. I was playing this game with God. I really knew that he loved me still. The daisies were so sweet. I enjoy playing games like this with God. One person was saying, I am God's solitude, and the other was saying, I am God's silence. Solitude said that she was the friend of God, much more important than the silence of God, and so they went on arguing between themselves. I said, don't you know that the silence of God is quite different from solitude? You seem to have come from a place where God abides, yet you have not understood this. The silence of God is his love given to someone who walked to the silver sands, to the edge of the sea of infinity. He was drawn with his whole being to enter this sea, and he did enter it. The silence of God is nothing else than the complete following of Christ. This silence of God is pain beyond measure. Those who enter are plunged into God's knowledge, God's healing, and God's power. Have you forgotten that when he said, "Love one another as I have loved you," he made us heirs, children of the Father? At the same time, to those few who entered his silence, he gave his own knowledge and the power to heal and to bring people to him. And have you forgotten that all these powers rest on the very slender thread of faith, on which silence also rests? Solitude usually walks with silence, but silence does not need solitude. Silence possesses solitude in itself. He who enters the depths of God's heart leaves solitude at its door, because the silence of God envelops him. Solitude is a way of silence. It can be led to the silver sands, but it does not necessarily plunge one into the infinite sea of tremendous silence, pain, joy, crucifixion, and resurrection. Solitude prepares a person for silence, prepares him to approach the silver sands and jump into the waters of the sea. When solitude leaves the silver sands and walks again the rocky pavements of city and country, calling whispers, proclaiming God to anyone who will listen, slowly solitude gathers a small group that she will lead to the silver sands. Solitude will, however, lead others into the busy marketplace, where they will serve the poor, the sick, and the lonely, just as the Lord served us. Solitude will console. Solitude will enter families and bring peace where there is strife. Solitude has much work to do, and one of these works is to bring a small group of people to the silver sands at the edge of the immense sea. When I finished saying all this, the two who were sitting at my side, they vanished. Entrance into the silence of God is not a matter of thinking, it is an action. You stand on silver sands and then move into that sea of infinity. You must plunge deeply into it. There is no bottom. Its depths will continue to reveal themselves during the rest of your life. This sea can also turn into a mountain at God's command. So sometimes, in the great silence of God, you are not swimming but climbing slowly and painstakingly toward its inevitable summit. This is covered with a sweet and beautiful fog, like you sometimes see in early morning in the fall. That's how the summit appears, but you reach it only when you die. In the immense silence of God, be it the sea of infinity or the mountain, you must go on, because the incredible has been revealed to you, God's overwhelming love for you and for all. You cannot resist his love. You continue onward, whether in depths of the sea or on heights of the mountain. Love is a magnet that will not release you. The only difficulty is that the deeper you go into the sea, or the higher you go up the mountain, the clearer do you see before you the desires, hopes, and dreams of mankind. They are laid out like a map, with all its plains and contours and mountain ranges. From the very beginning of the human race, men and women disobeyed God. However, you wish to understand the story of Adam and Eve. One thing is certain, somewhere deep down in the heart of man is disobedience to God. Somewhere deep down in this same heart is the urge to kill. Let that truth sink into your heart. Cain killed his brother, and this is what people have been doing since time immemorial, killing one another. Today, you not only see people killing each other, but you see more men are torturing one another. Over all this pain, touching the sky and rooted deeply in the silence of God, is a cross made out of wood. The Son of God hung on this wood, on this cross full of splinters. Flies crawled all over his wounds, and the crown of thorns allowed no rest for his head. On this cross, God bleeds. Is that the result of an imagination running wild? I don't know, but I see that in each person who dies by the hand of his brother, in each person who is tortured by another, Christ bleeds. Christ is in eternal agony. There is no respite for him. War follows war. In the depths of his silence, God opens the eyes of my heart. I turn my face away for a moment to blot out the sight, but still I see him who sat and talked to the Samaritan woman. I cry because his pain has been my pain for so long. He answers me from the throne, Catherine, until the end, until we meet, you will experience my pain, but then you will sit forever at my feet and experience my joy. Hope is a gift of God. It appears when everything else is lost, and when hopelessness seems to reign, the deep silence of God hovers over you. Even when the landscape that surrounds his silence is bleak, one stands in the midst of sheer cliffs that cannot be climbed through human effort. From below, all one can do is look up at these immense cliffs, which seem to touch the sky. Of course, there is a distance between the cliffs and the sky, but because one is so deep down into the silence of God, cliffs and sky seem to touch. The cliffs of hopelessness are steep and slippery, and they seem to grow taller. But having stood by the silver sands and jumped into the abyss of the infinite sea, one is no longer merely human, and therefore hopeless. Hope can spring from somewhere, and it springs from God. This is the moment of trust. Can God provide you with a ladder to climb to the top of these cliffs? Prayer seems impossible, and the tempter assails you on all sides. Faith alone has hold of you, as if by a small hook and slender wire. You have to pick up the hook and wire which are lying at your feet and attach them to yourself. You hook them onto your ragged clothes. Quicker than a streak of lightning, you feel a tremendously powerful tug on this slender wire. As you experience his power, Christ laughs. Did you ever hear Christ laugh? He used to dance and clap his hands like all Jewish children. I don't know if he danced as an adult, but he must have danced when he was a youth. In the immense silence, you can hear the clapping of his hands and the laughter of God. Hope surges in your heart as you are carried up back into the big wide world of sun and moon, of beautiful trees and lovely flowers. It is because this gives Christ such great delight that he laughs. That's how it is. But alas, people do not believe in God's power. One after another, they jump off bridges and take sleeping pills. I myself experienced the temptation to despair. In my book, Fragments of My Life, I talk about these temptations. Water can look inviting and peaceful from the top of the Brooklyn Bridge. There were many, many times when I stood at the feet of sheer cliffs and couldn't see the hook and the wire to which I could have attached myself. Yet it was always there. Barely visible, perhaps, but always there. However, in the great silence of God, even when you cannot pray with your lips, because they are cold and you cannot pronounce the words are pronounced by your heart, and the prayer of your heart always is, have mercy on me, Lord, for I am perishing because I don't seem to believe in you. My faith is weak. Strengthen it. Once you have experienced the powerful tug of God lifting you out of seeming hopelessness, nothing in this world will ever again cause you to despair. Even the experience of martyrdom, I don't think would bring you to that. Martyrs receive special graces from God, and so on this thin hook and wire, you surface into the fresh air. You lie down peacefully in a garden. The wind, which is part of God's silence, passes by and whispers to you. That was one of the tests. God tested you and did not find you wanting. That's amazing. Don't you think? That was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. This is what I'm talking about, y'all. I really like this Holy Silence book. you know? I can't even believe how beautiful the book is. Why is it showing it so slowly? That's weird. I thought it didn't film this part. I was pretty sure it didn't. And I'm pretty sure I time-lapsed it. I don't understand what's going on here. This is weird. Anyway, did you guys enjoy the readings for today? I won't be able to do any of the readings tomorrow because I'm going to be out of town all day. I will snappy snap here and there, though. Don't worry about that. That's going to happen. I just wanted to make sure that you guys had the readings for today, though, because it was very important to me that you guys got the readings for today. You know what I mean? And I did it all. I finally did it. It's all done. I'm so happy. It took a little while, but, you know, life. It's all good. Now I believe I have to go soon because we have to go to bed. It's going to be a long day tomorrow. A really long day. And I don't know exactly how the day's going to go, you know? Like, I'm hoping it goes well. That's basically what I'm hoping. I'm hoping it goes well. That's my only hope. And that we get everything done and we get to come home. I just hope that everything gets done. And we can also get our prescriptions that are going to be waiting for us when we get back into town. Hopefully that's possible too. Know what I mean? I mean, I'm not planning on getting a whole lot of food, but, you know, I got to try to make sure that we have enough for a while. You know what I mean? And I'm hoping that we get our tax return soon. That's the biggest issue right now is the tax return. If we get that sometime like in the next few days, because she said 2 weeks and Monday will be 2 weeks exactly. So maybe between Monday and next Friday, we'll be getting our tax return, which would be nice. And then I can get more food at that time and stock up on things. And that's what we usually do anyway. And we also have to do the new phones and, you know, that kind of stuff. But yeah, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the readings and watching the videos that I posted for the readings. I hope you guys all had a wonderful Wednesday. I'm going to drink my tea now, then I'm going to get my concoction going, and then I'm going to upload all these videos, and then we'll be going to bed. Hopefully not too late, but it is getting quite late now. That took a long time, more than I expected. No, don't start telling people things that I did not say. That's not what I said.
How long are you going to market for?
While I upload this to YouTube.
Oh,
Yeah.
when's what?
Alright, y'all, it didn't film me doing it, but I did this.
I'm crazy.
Because a stupid creditor called me and it freaking froze the freaking video. Stupid creditors. So, I gotta do this quick because we gotta go to bed early because we waking up early. We're gonna be in town all day tomorrow. So here's the plan. I'm gonna tell you quickly now, and I'll probably explain it again in the morning. Knowing me, I forget. Anyway, this is what's going down. We're waking up at 5. Getting everything together. The boys will be putting their lunches inside their backpacks, packing what they're taking with them, their tablets or whatever. I'm going to be packing my tablet because I'm going to be writing a blog in town, okay? Using my phone as a hotspot to do it. Now, I'm also going to take into town my Bible, and and I'm going to take a picture of the King James one because I can't take two. It's going to be too much weight on my back. So I'm taking I'm going to take a picture of the King James Proverbs 31 because that's the one I'm using for the blog. Taking my Bible, and I'm going to take with me Living Virtuously because I want to read it. I'm still reading it, yes. And then, yeah, I think that's it. That's all I'm taking with me. And then, like, the regular things I usually take with me. I'll take my pink veil so that I can veil while I do my prayers and things, as you guys know. I'm going to snap here and there tomorrow, but I don't think we'll be doing any of the readings for tomorrow, like the mass reflections, anything like that. I'm going to be in town all day, y'all. I'll have no time. So I'll do the snappy snaps here and there explaining what's going on and what we're doing. I'll be doing a blog, of course, and postings. Don't worry about that. But I won't have time when I get home because I'll have to put away all the food. And then it'll be time for me to get ready for bed, basically. So tomorrow's going to be a very hectic, long day. So this is the plan. Waking up at 5. Packing everything that we're taking with us. I have to switch my purses over tonight. I'm going to do that before I go to bed so I don't have. Okay, so we're waking up at 5. Packing our bags. I'm switching my purses tonight so that I don't have to do it tomorrow. I don't want to take time doing it tomorrow morning. What I want to do in the morning is get up, get dressed, take my medicine that I need to take so I don't, go to the washroom or need an emergency washroom while I'm on the bus. And basically do checklists to make sure we have everything we're taking with us. Everything. That means including my charging block, charging cable, plug-in charging block. Yeah. It's going to be one of those kinds of days, man. It's going to be a very hectic day. Now, we're going to get into town. We're going to renew our IDs. That's the first thing we're doing. Then I'm walking over to St. Anne's afterwards. And I'm going to grab the Catholic newspaper because it's right across the street from where we're doing that. Then I got to wait for the bus. However long that will be, I don't even know. Then I'm taking the bus to the hospital. Then I'm going to go do my tests at the hospital. Then after that, I got to wait outside for the next bus after I'm done, however long that will take. Then I'm taking the bus down to the mall. Then we're staying at the mall till Johnny's off work. Then we're walking to Superstore, shopping for all the food that we need. And then we're taking a cab home. That's my day tomorrow. I'm going to be in town all day. So I'm going to be very tired when I get home. Because I'll have had to deal with people all day. And I don't like that. That's going to drain me of all my energy. It's going to be really, really rough. I'm going to be really tired when I get home. I'm going to want to just say goodnight, upload my video, and go to bed. That's what I'm going to do. Literally. So, I'm probably going to say goodnight now because I want to go to bed. Like, around in the next hour. So I get a sufficient amount of sleep. So, I stayed dressed until now.
What Minecraft?
I have an hour until I go to bed. So, this is my video. Good night, y'all. Hope you had a wonderful Thursday. Oh no, today's Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thursday. What is wrong with me? Anyway, hope you all had a wonderful day. I did. Very, very, very productive, even though I couldn't get up in the morning because I felt sick. Feel like a bus hit me. Hopefully tomorrow I feel better. I did manage to do dinner and lunch for tomorrow. And yeah, so I guess I'll see you in the morning. I'll see ya.
Like, you mean when you feel like your head has this inside of it, but tilting? That's how you feel? That's how I feel when I'm asleep. There's something just tilting my head.
No, it's more like I'm on a boat. It's like this. I feel like I'm like this.
Look at this. Folding guard.
Anyway, see you tomorrow at 5 a.m. God bless. Good night. Later for now. See y'all in the morning.
I can't.
Good night.